Okay, that too.
Like, what the heck? Literally, this is like part of our house.
Oh, you did?
I didn't know if it was this month or next month. Or the-
Well, I guess better just park. Hey, how are you? That's pretty on our little device here.
Everyone, I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is March 31st, 2022, and the time is 6:31 p.m. It's a work session, and the meeting is now called to order. I will ask that we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Gina, can you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks for coming, everyone out there in Zoom land. Thank you. We're going to do roll call, Denise.
Thank you. Mayor Gilland.
Present.
Counselor Foreman. Present. Thank you. Counselor Gonzalez.
Here.
Council President Wagner. Counselor Barge. Here. Counselor Harvey.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, next is announcements, additions, and deletions to the agenda. I don't have it this council. You're not hearing any, we'll move on to new business, which is updating our council rules. And John Harvey was our facilitator, so he'll explain where we're at in that process. John, you have the floor.
I have a comment on these rules that we were working on for the council and the mayor and council. Everyone who works for the city works with a set of rules. I want everyone to understand what the rules are, what I am about to say. The council worked on changes to council rules as a body. Went over the rules, allowing all council members of the council to ask for change if they felt were. At that time, we issued a directive decision to bring back a draft before sending it to Mr. Martin. Council Harvey stated there was no hurry and wanted an opportunity to review the drafted rules to the council for review before sending to Bill Martin. Marston made a note and will bring the drafted rules to the council for review or sending to Bill Martin. Reason for the directive was for the council to be clear on what the changes were before it was sent off. Things were added that were not requested by the council. This could have been avoided if the directive had been. At this point, the mayor to.
Okay, so, all right, we need to move forward and finish up these rules. And I have a solution proposal to what has kind of happened. I would like to dial it back. We have in front of us copies, the copy that rule changes we asked for as a committee council. And then in the middle, we have under the orange tab is ours council. And then tab 2 is the draft that was returned from Bill Monahan after his review. It includes his track changes, which shows exactly what he added or deleted. This being said, I want to compliment the council on our hard work and effort in the first work session, and I appreciate that we were really getting along. I think this is fine, but we just need to, now we need to move on. Okay, let's get past this. Let's move back to where we were. So my proposal is this. Tab 3 is about the same thing. It's just provided in tab 2. Only Bill Monahan's edited or incorporated into the document with distractions and track changes, et cetera, et cetera. I want to omit that right now. I don't even want to look at it tonight. If that's okay, what I'd like to do is have council in their binders leave the orange tab 1, page 1 through 15 in the binder. Then to the right or left, it doesn't matter, however you're comfortable. I'd like to remove the yellow tab, page 1 through. The pages changed because of the add-ins that were put in. Page 1 through 16. Keep it in order and move it to the side. Close the binder again. Okay. If it's okay, I would like to go through line by line on the changes that we as a council decided we wanted. Okay. That being said, when I come across one that is put in that we had maybe not asked for, I will simply ask that it be omitted at this time and restored to its normal state. Is that something we can do? That way, we're not dealing with those, but we'll quickly and swiftly look at the language that was provided by Bill Monahan and move forward. Like maybe we need to look at it and see if we can just go ahead and approve that language for the ones we asked for. Is everybody okay with that? John, Diana, Nikki, All-Star, Pam? Okay, so it's decided. That's what we will be doing. I need these changes made, and I need to know how to go about that because I don't have a keyboard here. Susie and I talked a little bit earlier, but I wasn't sure how we were going to proceed until I talked to the facilitator, who in this case is John. Now that I know, is there a way we can do this while we're doing it, Susie? Or
Sure, but are we working off the draft that?
that's the first one, right? Yep.
I wasn't prepared for that because I didn't go grab it.
Oh, you don't have a copy like we do?
Just log into the.
Oh, I
Yeah, so I
gotcha.
need to send it.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, yeah, we can take a 5-minute break. Thank you for coming, everybody. See everybody I know out there. That John, yeah. Good. Nice to see you guys. Hey, my husband. I'm just making small talk. How's everybody's week been?
It's raining and it's light around.
It's 54 degrees out. So, bikini weather.
I was informed my wife and my mom went out and put all the little buds on all the trees up and down last night. Thank you for that.
What did you do?
A lot of buds. This is good.
I got called back in. Yeah, so I kind of figured that would be okay.
So is everybody holding on to their stuff and getting ready for the Jervis spring cleanup? April 30th. Grab all your yard debris, old appliances, what?
Tires. No wheels, just tire, rubber.
There's a wire. Hired before, but it was like so many, and then it costs. Yeah, wasn't it like you get 2 or 3? Yeah, so 2 or 3 tires is free, but then after that, there's a charge. I think it was 4 It should be on the website, yeah. I apologize, I literally got up work and did a quick change and, hold on, no dinner, so I'm like. Yeah, well, it's gonna be yard debris, untreated wood, no, like, household garbage. That type of thing, but old
Take
bikes.
mine out. I have a tendency to lose
Sure,
trash, so I'd rather flip back and forth, but I
Something like
totally
that.
plan to do that.
And we can use volunteers.
Whatever you think.
I'll stick a page or something.
Okay, so we need to take it out.
Putting up I should know, right? Right.
Okay.
I'm just doing it.
First 3 tires are free, $2 per tire thereafter.
Voila, first 3 tires free. First 3 tires free, $3 after that. $2 up there. Say that 5 times fast.
No rims, right?
No rims. Well, yeah, you can do them, I mean, your rim, okay, let's rephrase that. Rims cannot be on the tires, or tires can't be on the rims.
There you go.
I'll get the rim, I just thought it.
Yeah.
Driveway, it'll be on it more.
Right? Yeah. So now everything is on the website, or if you're on social media on Facebook, you can also go on there. It's on the Jervis neighbors page and all of that. And it'll tell you everything you can bring.
I'll clean out mine.
Pretty serious. Karen, police or.
You know what, it's not a piece of paper.
Hey, I'll be right there.
This one up here.
Oh, we took that one out. We put that one back. All right.
We didn't know who changed.
This is the one we have. Okay, so we're following this. We're gonna look at my. Okay. These are the papers right here. Line up right, yeah, they don't quite pick up. Yeah, because they changed.
Let's just get this done, you guys. It shouldn't take long because we didn't have a whole lot of changes. I'm gonna start on page 1, City of Jervis Council Rules of Procedure, regular meetings. We added the word overtime. It looks like that was left in. So are you guys okay with it? Okay, so it stays. Now on 2, we had no changes, and on 3, we had no changes. 4, no changes. What we did add was a work session. And it looks like, did it get changed a little bit? We need to read through 4, this work session, and then it's 5 on the change paper. He numbers it as number 5. Can you read for Bill's word and see if it's something you want?
There, this isn't Bill's wording, this is from the work session.
Okay, where's Bill's wording?
Why didn't?
Oh, the blue?
Well, I think the yellow and the blue both, she wants us to read through the yellow, the build stuff, and compare it to what's up there.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
we're comparing.
let's word it right.
On page 4, Susan.
No,
Oh, I
maybe
thought
that
we
would
were on
help.
number four.
Okay,
Nikki's
so-
gonna read it for us.
Is it on number 4 or page 4?
Page 1.
Oh, page 1, number 4. Okay, sorry, I misunderstood.
What I'll do is I'll read it slowly and then everybody can or
See if they like the word.
So work session. The council may hold a work session on the third Thursday of each month in the Jervis City Hall or at another time or place in the city which the council designates. Such sessions shall allow the council an opportunity to discuss or review such topics as, but not limited to, forthcoming projects of the city, determining goals for the ensuing year, receive progress reports on current programs or projects, or to hold open decisions on any city-related subject, provided that all discussion therein shall be informal with no vote or formal action taken. Work session shall be open to the public. However, an opportunity for public comment will only be allowed at the discretion of the presiding officer or by a majority vote of the council members present.
That was taken from the Kaiser City Council Rules of Procedures where we found that, and that will not be listed on there once it's ready. Okay, we will take it out. I am okay with that. Ready, John? Yes.
I don't understand what is the reason? for doing that?
That was done by Bill and I
I-
couldn't tell you. I mean, if he was here helping, he'd be able to.
John, would you like him to put your?
Well, I'd like to read that part the same, because if you're the city council.
Okay, it identifies us, I get that. I think that's a good ask.
That says it in our first, in our original, says that right in.
Okay.
That,
Sure, yes.
I would say that my guess as to why he did that is to make it the same as the rest of the rules. So if you look at like number 2, all regular meetings of the council. So it doesn't say the Jervis City Council every single time it talks about the council. So I think he's just making it consistent throughout the entire.
well, it should have went the other way as far as I.
Right, but we didn't change that.
Well,
So that's
How they like it.
right. I'm thinking he's just making it consistent from the way it was
Okay.
before adding this
Well,
rule in.
Would anybody be opposed to wherever it says council, we can, if you would like it. Or you like Jervis City
that's
Council?
fine, wherever it does say just council.
So can I just ask a question? I'd like to better understand the drive to put the Jervis City Council. I mean, this is the Jervis City Council document. This is the City of Jervis's document. And so it seems often redundant to place it 20 or 30 times throughout the Jervis document anyway. I totally know that it's a great idea that we identify, especially early on. It does talk about the Jervis City Council, but then as you go through, and I didn't count them up, but there's many, many, many times that it's already a Jervis document. So it seems redundant to frequently reiterate Jervis.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it says right at the top of the page,
Yeah.
City of Jervis Council rules.
Comfortable to maybe because I understand what you're saying, I understand what you're saying.
Here, but is it possible maybe rather than like having the word Jervis where, you know, maybe initially saying the Jervis City Council and then putting the asterisk and then having that acknowledge that it's that it's pertained that is the Jervis. That's.
Yeah, I do that. John, are you done, Nikki?
Yes.
John, you have the floor.
I thought it over.
Okay,
Just pass on.
I was gonna go with John's explanation about that, you know, this is a Jervis document, it does make sense. Good, so we'll move forward with what it says then. Say, tell Bill that that is okay, we like that one.
Okay, but this is what you guys wanted and Mickey read what.
Well, that's what we want.
Yeah.
We're gonna adopt what you said, what we're saying.
Oh, okay. So do you want me to go through and make changes while?
If you can, please.
What I was doing is reading what he put and comparison to this and have everybody make sure that the verbiage on both is good.
Okay, well, can we go through this again so I can get all the right words? So we're gonna strike.
Or is there any way that you could copy and paste his?
I mean,
Okay, I'm just trying to.
I'm getting an indication that we won't be accepting all of Bill's changes, and so it's gonna be really hard to copy and paste.
Well, let's do it now then, that's fine. So. You wanted to make the work session. There's not a whole lot. Yeah, I can see it. How about you guys?
So we're gonna take out River City.
Council, is with a small c.
Just not sure grammatically that's correct. Council is a small fee.
Yeah, that's what he did.
The council.
So that he, is that what he did?
And again, it's the way the rest of it.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So council may hold a work session on the third Thursday of each month. And you wanna read?
So it's in this,
Oh, you know what? Cynthia, I apologize. He has it as all capital. I don't.
no, he doesn't. That's what he did lowercase,
So that's what I'm thinking.
right there. That little piece before the
Yeah,
service
right,
is
that's
what,
where he changed it.
right. It's actually
You
easier to
have a
read the
copy of
blue
this
one.
one?
If you look at the blue one, that's what.
I do, but if somebody wants to dictate, that might be easier.
Okay.
Okay, so the council may hold a work session on the third Thursday of each month from line 2 now in the Jervis City Hall or at another time or place in the city, which the council designate, period. Such session shall allow the council an opportunity to discuss or review such topics as, comma, but not limited to, comma, forthcoming projects of the city or small city. Determining for the during the year. Comma, receiving progress report on current program or project. Open discussion on any city, lowercase, related subject. Provided, somebody's having chips. Provided that all discussions thereon shall be informal with no vote or formal action taken. Period. Work sessions shall be open to the public, semicolon. However, comma, an opportunity for public comment will only be allowed at the discretion of the presiding officer or by a majority vote of the council members present. Period.
Yeah.
Okay. a couple of, you've still got a couple spelling mistakes that he corrected, so if you wanna go back through and like look at your spelling, yeah. And then on that line there, Susie, it should have said at the discretion.
Good eye. I told Diana Hawkeye.
Okay.
Yes, now number 6. We did ask for a change, and I will read Bill's ask on that. You guys listening? Because you can see what's up there on ours. Now I'm going to ask or read what Mr. Monahan says we should probably put there. Special meetings, period. Special meetings of the council may be called by the mayor upon his or her own motion or the request of 3 members of the council upon compliance with the requirements of the Oregon Open Meeting Statute. I believe that should be, special meetings of the council may also be held at any time by the consensus of the members of the council, of all the members of the council. On that, I believe the requirements are the Oregon public meeting laws now, isn't it?
It is,
That's
and it
That's what he
Is it? Okay. Oh, I was gonna read his, that's what we have. I'm sorry.
No, but that's.
okay.
Okay, but public meeting laws. He put, special meeting of the council may also be held at any time by the consensus of all members of the council.
No, you got it backwards. He added public and law. That's, and the rest of it's the same.
Right there.
And I
Okay,
will-
well, then Susie just needs to put public and law in there. Is that right?
So it's the Oregon Public Meetings Law instead of open meetings.
You know what? I got bad eyes. Somebody else go read.
Can you replace statute with law?
Yeah,
Yes.
No,
there we go.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yep.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on then. We did one in electronic meetings. Mickey, you want to read the electronic meeting that he
Yes.
puts?
Electronic meetings, period. Normally, all council, lowercase, meetings or work sessions shall be held in person. However, or period, however, upon council motion, and unanimous vote, council may schedule a future meeting or work session partially or totally electronically upon a showing of a particular need, period. And then we go at the bottom, if during an electronic meeting, the connection is lost, a break of 15 minutes shall be allowed for the staff to attempt to reconnect and broadcast the meeting, period. If connection cannot be reestablished within 15 minutes, and the 15 is in the parentheses there.
I think finish reading it. and we
Okay.
can discuss.
Then the council meeting will be adjourned. An exception to this rule is when a required hearing is scheduled to be held following public notice and postponement to another date would create scheduling issues. In such instances, additional time to connect beyond 15 minutes shall be allowed, period. Notice of this provision will be placed on all meeting notices / agendas, period.
Okay, what does everyone think of that? Ms. Clifton?
OPMLA, the Oregon Public Meeting, OPMLS, now says that you have to have electronic, and there you say you have to vote on it.
That's interesting. I think I remember someone saying that. So are you saying,
You have to vote on it.
if I heard correctly, it said,
It says, however, upon council motion and unanimous vote, council may schedule a future meeting or work session partially or totally electronically. So yeah, we're basically saying we can choose to do it electronically or
Okay.
not.
But I think that they're talking about us being there, and we need to be more specific, because what she's saying is true, we do have to have it now, electronic. So why, that's kind of redundant if it's that way. We just found that out for our committee, that's right. So we have to have one anyway.
So then it should say, instead of may, shall, or will.
Well, I don't know
will
the
be,
word shall.
will be available, maybe will, Zoom meetings will be available.
Will schedule a future meeting at work sessions partially, totally electronically. So just maybe instead of may,
Is will.
it's will, because it's just.
Well,
Yeah, shall be
Less
council meetings, that's
arbitrary.
council.
I was-
So don't work that.
I think the intent of this one is so the public meetings law, you have an in-person meeting. But the public meetings law says now that in addition to having an in-person meeting, you need to provide a virtual option for people to participate. I think the intent of this one is if the council, for whatever reason, doesn't want to meet in person and would rather meet electronically, I think that's what this is speaking to.
So I think it means something different because of the recent issue we had that we lost conductivity.
Yeah,
So for me, that's what this is really addressing, because that came up recently and we were didn't know what to do. How long should we wait? Should we come back? So to me, that's what this speaks to, rather than, we can all meet electronically or all not meet electronically. So it's just my
okay, so how would you
interpretation.
word that, Pam?
That was the reason that came about, though. You were
Right.
right.
Because I wasn't able to attend it and disconnected.
Right, and I wasn't either, and
Yeah.
so.
Okay, so how would you word that? Let's rewrite it then.
So I think that it's worded well, other than you may want to change the word may to will. So normally, all council meetings or work sessions shall be held in person. However, our unanimous vote will schedule a future meeting or work session electronically, showing a particular need. So it's still talking about electronically, but what it does do is stipulate the timeline, which that's where we got goofed up. We didn't know how long to wait. So I don't think the language is poor here. That's just my interpretation. It's really meant to address more of that an issue for us than it is to address whether we decide to meet in person or not meet in person.
Okay, so let's add the word will. Is everybody okay with that, Diana?
So I'm just looking at it and going with the idea that we are supposed to have the electronic access. What if we just said, like, normally all council meetings or work sessions will be held in person and broadcast electronically? And that if the electronic portion of the meeting, something along those lines, does that make sense? Like, so we're having,
If the connection is lost.
right,
we-
right, we're
15
basically
minutes and
covering
then-
this grounds of, we're supposed to be have the online virtual session as well. But if if we lose the virtual session, then we're pausing the entire meeting. Right, that's what we're trying to get, is that we're both in person and virtual, but if we lose the virtual portion, then we're having 15 minutes. So I don't think we need even the whole sentence of however upon council motion and unanimous vote. We just put that we're holding the sessions in person and virtually.
That works for
I
me.
like,
I understand that, see, that's more layman's terms for me, but I do like her, will, I like that one too. So I'll leave that up to you guys, what you want to do. Can you do both?
So do you want it to say, Diana, normally all council meetings or work sessions will be held in person and broadcast electronically?
Yeah, I think that just makes the most sense.
And then
if during the
further down where it
electronic,
says may changes to will.
right,
I think that's good. I think the intent is to make sure that we are acknowledging it will be done electronically.
right.
So, Maria, unless somebody needs to make feedback.
She's working on it. And then I think we can take away that whole second sentence, Suzie. However, yeah,
Yeah, that seems odd to me.
right. The however,
Yeah.
This one?
However, upon council motion and unanimous.
Because we're not
motion-
making a motion,
No,
it's just
not only
is.
that, but we have to have them,
Right.
so it's not a particular meeting, you have to do it. Did I?
Yep, and then if during the electronic, I would say portion, or. No, I guess during the electronic meeting makes sense.
Mhm.
The connection is lost, a break of 15 minutes, and so he spells out 15 and then puts 15, the number in parentheses.
Thank
And
you.
then he actually changed it to if during an electronic meeting instead of the. Which makes more sense too. There you go. Shall be allowed to. Shall, a break of 15 minutes shall be allowed for the staff to attempt to reconnect. And broadcast the meeting.
Yeah, that shall,
I like the little one. I like it
shall,
there.
And then if connection cannot be reestablished within 15 minutes. Then the council meeting will be adjourned. And then, so this is the part that he added in. An exception to this rule is when a required hearing is scheduled to be held following public notice, and postponement to another date would create scheduling issues. In such instances, additional time to connect beyond 15 minutes shall be allowed. You guys agree with that additional, that add-in? So that's what he added into that.
Well, I guess I need to know what the rules around a required hearing is about, whether it's necessary to be included in that paragraph or not.
I think that would go for, if we're having a land use thing going on and it had to be done.
like a quasi judicial.
Yeah.
Okay, I see, I see.
And especially, I would say if there's no quorum here, like the quorum is made via electronically, we can't continue the meeting here. And it's not fair to the public land use or the land use people to adjourn after 15 minutes and make them come back. Is that sound
Yeah.
reasonable to you?
Yeah, I
Susie, as to
understand
how-
now. That sounds good.
So I would say that that makes sense to be added in. Okay, you want me to read it? So an exception to this rule is when a required hearing is scheduled to be held following public notice and postponement to another date would create scheduling issues. Period. In such instances, comma. Where'd I go? Additional time to connect beyond 15 minutes shall be allowed. Period. Okay, perfect, looks good.
Okay, so 7 is complete then? Is everybody okay with that?
Mhm.
Okay, done. We get a flip page on the orange. And 8 is still on the same page. We are gonna talk about attendance.
All right, so attendance.
We're not talking about number 8.
Parliament rules, we don't have any changes on those, John, so we're not gonna talk about it. We're done.
So we go to attendance.
Which is under number 8.
Council member who is, a council member who is not able to attend any meeting of the council shall notify either the city manager or mayor as soon as practicable. Practical. No, you guys vote.
Practicable.
Practical. Prior to the start of the meeting, period.
It's a big word, it's a, it's $2 word.
Yeah.
The only thing, I'm okay with that pretty much, but just in the sake of helping Susie out, I think that I would like to see mayor or president. And
Council
remove the
president?
manager part of it. I think you guys can
We can
handle
do
that.
it. Are you
I think
okay
two
with
can
doing that?
handle that
I'm
real
good.
good, and that takes a little load off of Susie. She doesn't have to answer the phone. She can keep it.
She doesn't have to worry about contacting us, such regards.
I like that.
So mayor or
City
council president.
Council president.
I do think there should always be two though, two resources, so I'm fine with however that, I think, except for.
And then as soon as practical, practicable, whatever, prior to the start of the meeting. And it, yeah. And then at the beginning of the sentence, Susie, it's just a council member who is.
You could put practical and take that $2 word on there.
Thank you. I knew that wasn't a word.
It's practical.
Practical instead of,
Practicable.
right.
But you can't, you know.
The $2 word, 'cause it's one of those big words you throw out when you want to be president.
There you go. Works for me.
Funny sentence. You get to do it, Jacob.
When you want to sound really smart.
Okay, is everybody okay with that then? Okay, let's move on. We are getting through it. The rest of page 2 moves to rules of procedure. 1, 2, and 3, no changes.
I don't know if you want to note those, but like on 2, there was a word at the was
Okay,
added, and ensuring was
the,
also added.
and 2 is ensuring the,
Oh. You know, matter to be
First
heard by them.
line, council,
after
the
council.
presiding officer.
oh, I see.
Not this.
Okay, and then it scroll down a little bit.
And under responsibility for order. Next paragraph, Susie.
Conduct of the council committee as a whole meeting.
Oh,
Ensuring is spelled, E, they just spelled it wrong, so it's a spell check for the ensuring. Okay, is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, flip the page to 3 in the
so
binder.
to back up, under rules of procedure, I heard the mayor say 1, 2, and 3, but I only say 1, and 2.
3,
Is
order
there
and
a 3?
decorum. Oh, somebody added, he added order and decorum.
Yeah, and then it
Or is
goes
it-
on the next, yeah, and then it goes on to the next page.
Yeah,
Order and decorum.
it's
What is
3A
order and decorum?
through-
And I'm just needing clarification on that. Right, is, 3 is on our page,
Yeah.
okay. 3, order
think we're
and
just-
decorum.
Yeah,
A, okay.
so it is still, it's on both of
These
them,
were
order,
did not
decorum,
ask
order,
me.
yeah,
decorum.
you're good. Just keep scrolling
So we're
down.
gonna
Yeah.
pay attention to it.
We have to.
Well,
But we didn't ask for any
So,
changes.
page
no, yes.
2 of ours says order and decorum is number 3. And page 3, or 2 of his says order and decorum at the bottom, so then on both sides, just not. Now you fix it,
That's weird. This is the same one as.
now you fix it.
Alright.
Okay.
Okay.
Page 2, page 3.
That's so good. So the next change we have on ours was add cell phone on phone usage. We need to add that in because there's no space for it, Susan.
Right, so keep scrolling down to page 3, Susie, there you go. In that red spot right
Right
there.
there, underneath it, if we adopt that language, how, does somebody want to read Bill's language for that?
A?
A,
Yes, because he's changing stuff that we didn't ask for changes for.
yeah, we're just skipping it. Didn't ask for it, so we're not doing it.
And Susie, just, I'm reading the initial and then Diana is.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna help you fix it up there.
Thank you.
Right?
And I
Got the
can't
young
hear
eyes.
you, so-
Okay, so, cell phone usage by a counselor during a council meeting is what it says. Number one, the council recognizes that a member of council may have a cell phone with them at the dais while a meeting is in session, period. It is the obligation of a council member to have their cell phone on silent mode, comma, turned off, comma, or not in use during a council meeting, period. Use of a cell phone shall be for emergency use only, period. Want me to read both and then we'll go through?
Yeah.
Okay. Number two, a member of council shall not use their cell phone while at the dais for the purpose of accessing data, comma, sending or reviewing a text message, comma, or engaging in a private conversation, period. Information received by a member of council during an open, comma, public meeting that is in session should be limited to what is shared with everyone in attendance at the meeting, period.
Okay, now Mayor has something to say about this. I do want to add in. I think that we're adults here and I think no cell phone. If you need to have it for like the ER thing, you can have it on silent. Don't pick it up, don't use it. Don't text message with it. Just use common sense. I don't know that we need this big rock and roll. But I also want it to include staff. I don't want staff using their phone because we do have staff that attends meetings. And I think it's important that everybody that's involved in this right here, no phone.
So I would, can I say something?
Go ahead.
So I would say that I agree with that, except that especially for the chief, cell phone use becomes a little bit more important. He's going to be getting text messages from his officers. He's going to be getting, you know, that kind of stuff that he may not need to excuse himself from, but he needs to respond to during a meeting. And because he's not making,
Okay, so the chief
Decisions.
is the exception. Everybody else should have it all.
Okay, so for me, I'm also part of, well, being with the CERT program, I'm on firefighter rehab. So if a 2-alarm fire gets called or pulse spike goes off and there's a cardiac event within a 4-mile radius, I'm the first person there. So I don't have my phone on the dais, but it would be nice to be able
You know
to.
what, Nikki, that's just common sense at this point for emergencies, you guys, we're adults. And if you got that alarm, it shows a color or something, right, or gives you a warning or,
If I have it on silent, it'll just,
you know, what I'm trying to do is get common courtesy going on. You know, I think phones are a distraction and I'm terrible myself, I'm not perfect in this. But I think as a general rule, unless you're an emergency person, don't have it up. Just don't.
We have it on silent.
Yeah.
yeah, it's always.
There's nothing wrong. That needs to be done, you know.
But I mean, it's just.
So we want to omit all of 1 and 2 and just say cell phone usage by a counselor and or city staff member during a city council meeting
Is an emergency only.
or for emergency only purposes.
Yeah,
And
that
then
sounds
just,
good.
I think that's more than adequate for the intent of what you're wanting to really do.
Yeah,
And that, you know, emergency services is going to cover the chief, it's going to cover Nikki, it's, gonna, you know. But
and even parent emergencies, if your kid hits 911, pick up the darn phone. I'm not trying to be like that. I don't want it so exclusive that it hinders, you know, that kind of thing for a mom or.
that
Common
is an
sense.
emergency.
Yes,
So,
it is. Common sense is what I'm after. I just don't want to nail people down with
If
this
it's a cell
rule.
phone usage by a counselor and or city staff members during a council meeting will be for emergencies only.
Can you tell Susie that? Let her type it. Are you guys okay with that?
can I just make a comment?
Sure.
So I agree that, I mean, we up here currently are adults and we can handle that, but I'm thinking that the reason that it's spelled out, and basically what you're saying is what's spelled out in the rules. And I guess I don't understand why having it spelled out in the rules, the same thing, isn't helpful for, in the future, it helps cover things like, you know, for me, I look at, and you're saying, so cell phones only available for emergency usage and that it's common sense. Well, what if I need to, we're talking about a calendar thing and I pick up my phone, that's not emergency. I'm now looking at my calendar. That's covered in rule number 2. and that I'm using my phone, I'm not using my phone to access data for, like, does that make sense? Like, it helps cover the rules. The rules make it so that gives us freedom in a way to do other things because the rules specify what we cannot do, if that makes sense. So because the way the rules are read, it makes it so that I can then, hey, we're scheduling a city hall meeting. I'm going to now pick up my phone and look at the calendar. Does that make sense?
Well, I think too, in the past, or at least, you know, John, you might remember too, is that we used to, if we may, say, okay, you know, everybody check your calendars, and everybody would pick up their phone. So it was just kind of, I think in this day and age.
Right.
I'm
I'm saying, no, I agree, but I'm just saying that for future people, and well, we may all be in agreement that that's what is what's correct. What's written here covers us so that somebody doesn't go, hey, your rule says that you can only pick up your phone for emergency usage, and I just saw you pick up your phone. Does that make sense?
Another thing though, is you can go, maybe the devil's advocate, you can get an anal person that's gonna play with those rules and get you on that.
Right, but that's where these rules give us a little bit more freedom than just saying cell phone usage is for emergency only.
Hey, John, you got something?
Right, in rule number 1, but then rule number 2 says a member of council shall not use their cell phone while at the dais for the purpose of, and then it gives a list of things that we can't use our phone for.
Access data.
But then it all,
Right, so we should be,
Calendars are data. I mean, you could get people that are like that. That's what I'm saying.
Well, so
Common
I
sense
think
is
number
where I'm-
2, just get rid of number 2 and keep number 1.
There's a compromise.
yeah, go ahead. Okay, so one of the things I noticed in number 2 is it says that engage it. So sending or reviewing a text message, comma, or engaging in a private conversation. Information received by a member of council during an open, comma, public meeting that is in session should be limited to what is shared with everyone in attendance at the meeting. So that to me, in the way that I'm reading it, is basically, okay, if the mayor, or if I'm here, or whoever's running the meeting, that's saying, okay, that when everybody is in together with that. But I do agree, I think, you know, just shortening it to the first one would be sufficient.
I hope that the future is, you know, common sense.
right, and I'm not saying that I don't think that, I just worry about just, if we say just cell phone usage for emergency use only without giving a little bit more guidelines, leaves us almost too stringent without enough guidelines.
Yeah, and it also opens up your phone and maybe a personal message you get from your son that you don't want me hearing them say, hey, somebody's gonna sit up here and say, that has to come to all of us. You know, you're gonna get people, I wouldn't do that, but down the road they might. That's why, you know, you're really touching crazy ground there if you look at it like that, Diana. People are gonna go both ways on that. That's
Right,
why. limited is what I
But
think.
if you put for cell phone usage for emergency use only, it limits you in other ways too, so.
Okay, so what if, okay, we're all in agreement that number 1 is good, correct?
Yeah.
What if down on number 2, where it says a member of council shall not use their cell phone while at the dais for the purpose of accessing data, yada, yada. What if it said a member of council or members of council may access their phones for scheduling meetings or something to
Just
that?
add it to number
Yeah,
one.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Add
I
that to
think
number
that's
1 at
fine.
the end,
That would be.
then
fine,
you're
yeah,
covering,
Right,
There's a compromise.
that works.
okay? So basically, members of the council
Right,
will be allowed to use their cell phones for scheduling purposes.
That's good.
Right?
We're gonna put that in,
yeah, under number 1, so we're just gonna make it one big thing, right?
just for that purpose.
That's gonna be great.
Okay,
Okay, so
council may use,
how about members of the council?
right, members of the council may use their cell phone
For
scheduling.
scheduling purposes.
What did you guys do before you had cell phone?
You know, I did a lot of writing.
Everybody here bring a pad and paper and write their notes.
We have
down.
them up here.
Write your notes down. Load your data when you go home.
Right, well, so my problem is if something pops up and they go, well, let's schedule that for June 16th. I don't know what I have going on June 16th without looking at my phone. So then I would have to say, well, I have to get back to you. Whereas other people bring calendars, so,
Or you can bring
I have a paper calendar, so I'm on that page.
a lot of people. Calendars you can take with you like I do at work.
right, and some
My
people
Bible.
do that, but I'm not going to transfer all of the hundreds of things I have on my phone calendar to that, so.
I
Okay.
carry multiple because I'm on multiple things, so, but I understand what you're saying.
So this is what I have. We have, do we need my question real quick is, do we want a heading or do we want to go with just the rule?
number one.
Okay,
Just
Cell
after-
phone usage by
so
council.
BII is going to say the council recognizes that a member of council
Or staff.
or staff may have a cell phone with them at the dais while a meeting is in session. Period. It is the obligation of a council member to have their cell phone on silent mode, comma, turned off, comma, or not in use during a council meeting. Period. Use of a cell phone shall be for emergency use only,
I like that.
period. Members of the council may use their cell phone for scheduling purposes.
So that doesn't make sense. Their use of cell phone shall be for emergency use only. Shall be for emergency and or calendar scheduling.
That would make sense too.
Yeah,
Or you could say however.
Right.
One or the other.
for emergency use or scheduling on the calendar. In the calendar. That's good. That would work for.
Yeah, and it should be up after. Yeah, that. Let's say take away only.
Yeah, we won't know.
That'll be for emergency use or scheduling on the calendar. And then after the other council member, we should probably put staff again. It is the obligation of a council member or staff. I'm good with that.
Everybody good? Okay, moving on. Okay, we don't have any changes then until flip your binder book to 4. No, that's the letter. That's not all. So where are we at now? Am I lost here?
So picture, we're skipping over the picture taking and filming section.
Oh, it's
Correct.
it's limitations on the, yeah,
Yeah,
limitations of debate, and then number 5 is under that. So number 4 is limitations on debate, and then on page 4, okay.
that was right here.
So you're gonna be-
Oh, okay.
Nope, you're gonna go to page 4.
Page 4 right there.
Okay.
Right
There
here.
and there.
Okay, so we don't have anything on ours under call to order for presiding officer. So we flip the page to the agenda and we add in on a number 5 for presentation. If
Right.
necessary, that's already in there, so
Yep.
we're gonna leave that, you guys?
Yep.
Okay. And then we don't have anything ourselves until 7, which is flip the loose page to 6. And it's presentation from public. And there's an alternate one here. There's ours and then an alternate, and I'm a little bit confused on this.
Yeah, I took some notes on that as well. Or wrote some notes.
I kind of liked ours the way it was.
You're on page 5, item.
On the binder, page 5, item
Item
7.
That's
And then on page 6, there's number 7, and then in the pink, you'll see an alternate presentation from Bill that follows that League of Oregon Cities model, which I think is very dated.
Well, can I
Yeah,
make a
just one
comment?
moment.
Okay,
And so we need to read both of those, Nikki, I guess, the way they are. And Diana, go ahead, you have the floor.
well, so I was gonna say, after reading them both, I feel like what Mr. Monahan did was, they're almost two different topics. What we are talking about in presentation from the public are presentations that the public wants to bring to us.
Right.
What he's talking about is public comment during our discussions, which are two different things.
See, and I like it interactive, so I would like to put it like being able to talk to Bill, Darren, and Laura. She brought up a good
Right.
point that actually helped us during a work session. I think that kind of thing is okay. In a regular meeting where we're getting agendas done, I don't think that we should be like that, but.
Right, well, and I don't know that we want to, I'm just saying that I feel like it's two different things. So he's saying alternate to presentation from the public, but I feel like he's adding in something different.
Well, he's saying they're entitled to comment more, you know, when when they're presenting.
But I wouldn't replace what we have,
He's calling it an alternative presentation. for the
Right.
public.
but to me, it's two different things.
So can we just say, go with what we have and go through that, skip that? You know, and then in 2 years, when we do this biannually again, which, am I running from there, guys?
So you're saying just keep what we have.
Yeah, I am.
So I would like, he did make a couple
Okay,
of
wait.
grammar changes on it
Okay,
though.
thanks.
But I do like see where public comment is a time for, the comment is not a time for debate, nor is it time for members of the public to ask questions of and receive answers from the council. So I do like that part because it's important that when people bring in their concerns to us, they understand that we are hearing them, but it isn't going to get resolved at moment
Well,
necessarily.
I think we could word that better because I think stifling them to not ask us questions or to question
No,
us
I-
all.
Yeah, I just think the
kind of
idea is
iffy
good,
for me.
but I'm fine if you want to pick a different format for language, but I do.
I absolutely want you guys to be able to bring questions. And if you can answer something real quick or to redirect them to our staff that can help them, I want it worded to where we're really clear that that's what will happen in all cases.
Maybe we just want to not go there.
You think, or, I'm thinking for
You
you.
just leave it because, I mean, we've done it up until now. and
But I
it's
do
been-
get what you're saying, Pam. I do understand what you're saying, because it can go awry. It really
It
can.
hasn't really happened yet, but that doesn't mean that it
Yeah.
couldn't in the future where they may not relinquish the podium until they get the answer.
Oh, well,
that's
see,
not
that's
always
that
how it can
3-minute
happen.
rule, and I'm pretty good at hammering that down. I still have the timer in me. I think I might have done it to my own mother. I mean.
So, okay, I agree.
Yeah.
So.
We're gonna omit the whole thing?
Leave what we have.
Leave what we have.
Which is up here.
Yeah, you've got it on.
But you should, to be
These are words.
consistent,
Yeah, I was gonna say, put the 15 in
yeah,
there.
it should be 15 and then minutes, like, that's just consistent.
And then the other thing he added in was council by majority may decline formal action or defer discussion and action to a subsequent meeting.
So basically, that's just
There we
saying
go.
kind of what was being said down here.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Just
yeah,
leave it out.
I say leave it.
Yeah, you don't want it.
My,
I didn't. It was just too much. And it stifled, yeah. And that's not what we're about.
We're not adding that in the
No,
sentence.
just leave it as is. The next one that we
Well,
haven't
no, do
changed.
you want to add in the defer discussion and action part? You don't want those couple of words up here?
Oh.
That's what we're looking
I
at.
don't know.
This is
Oh, okay.
saying council.
He's just,
May decline formal
Yeah.
action or defer.
he's defining what we're deferring.
Right.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. And
Oh,
we
we
can
can
say,
all,
hey,
yeah, I think, John, what do you think over there?
Adding in these two words, discussion and action.
Junior,
That's right.
yeah. Okay, so
Yeah.
go ahead and fill her.
Perfect, okay, looks
got it.
good.
Defer discussion and action till subsequent meeting.
Okay. And then the next one is ex parte contact, where I see some spelling that he's done that I like. Just, yeah, grammar, go ahead, Diana.
Oh,
Or
with
is
the
that
grammar
okay
under
with
ex
everyone?
parte. So under ex parte contact, when the council conducts a quasi judicial public hearing, each council member,
You want that?
yes. So instead of the, it should be each,
And member.
and then member instead of members, so take off the S. And then go down a couple of lines. One more line, Susie. Okay, so that sentence, when the ex parte contact concerns non-land use public hearing, a counselor. There you go. There you go, that's it.
Okay. And then.
Then on page 7, we just have a couple of grammatical errors.
I just want to acknowledge, looks like when you were back on the discussion about the cell phones, Virginia made a comment to apply the same rules if you were driving.
Oh, that's a good one, Virginia.
Hands-free only.
I like that.
So are we gonna add the language? We have no way, we don't have a place to put that in our language.
No, but it's a
But it's a
good,
good way to think about it.
it's a good thought,
It's a
Virginia.
good advisory.
But thank you for the input. I like that you guys are being interactive with us because it helps us help you with what you want from us, because you are my boss, you're their boss. Okay, thank you, I appreciate you.
So we're on page,
Page 7, reading of minutes, it's just a grammatical error.
Can you correct that grammatics? Or-
Yeah, go ahead.
Here,
You got it?
Yes, it's page 6 for us. Our original is page 6. So under reading of minutes, statements of bills, it should be the third line down or something. Wait, where'd it go? Yeah, third line down, it should be without reading. Maybe approved without reading if the city manager, say city manager with capitals,
Instead of just manager,
right?
yeah. Is that manager can be the water that?
Yeah.
Wait, Don, you have something?
I'm not, no, that's who he added that, right?
Yep.
He just changed it from manager to city manager, just to
You changed
specify.
the word. Okay. The next thing is rules of debate. Number 2, right?
Right, and we're just changing him to that member. Just to call, yeah. I should just say
Oh.
that member.
I'm gonna get off that page. Okay, and then on the next page, we don't have any.
There's a grammatical.
Is there
At
where
the
is it?
top.
Can you see it?
First, at the very top where it says order,
That's a-
Oh,
That's
yeah.
on, that's on theirs. Oh, she.
yeah.
So under the interruptions part still, it should say he/she. Wait, ours says that. I'm super confused.
Yeah.
Why is it red in that one? I don't know. I think ours say it.
Right here.
Yeah,
Christie?
oh, be called to order.
He shall be, and that's okay. I don't think
Oh, yeah, it's he, she on
Is
the,
it
on the
this
other
one?
part too. There you go. I saw the he, she on the last part. I was confused.
Oh,
Yes, the beginning.
Okay, so then on page 7, I don't see anything. Do you guys?
No.
Nope.
Page 8, nothing.
Nope.
Page 9, nothing.
Got a grammar correction.
Page 9.
Down, baby.
Section B, it's just got a grammar correction.
Where is that?
On what?
Oh, under, it's under ordinances, resolutions, and contracts.
Okay.
And it's, there we go, section number B, it should say each council member and
Okay,
a copy,
copy.
and a copy.
okay, and then the other one we didn't ask for on 5, so we're gonna skip that.
There you go. It is.
You find it, Susie? It's the
Yep,
second.
yep, she found it.
Awesome.
Oh, that's in 5. Yeah, okay, here's the 5, but we didn't ask for any, so I'm not gonna, if there's no grammatical, I don't think we stop there.
So just, let me get straight here. So we're on.
We're on page.
ours, we're on which page?
Page 8 in the binder. And we're gonna flip off of page 9 now to page 10 in the loose ones. And actually, it goes to.
Oh, okay, so here we go.
Where did it?
Again, it's just, there's some grammatical errors. Number 6, where it says the chair announces the voting results.
Where are we at in the binder?
We're on page 9.
9 in the binder. 9 in the binder, 10 in the.
Yeah.
So it should be ensure with an E, not insure with an I.
The ordinance of council conduct with one another. I don't like the shalls because people make mistakes. We're not gonna do that with people, so I don't want to change that. And then we didn't ask, so. So do we get off that page now, Mickey, and go to 11?
We're gonna go to 11 on this one, and under number 2, it has, and I'll read this one. Number 2 on page 11 of the loose, yeah, and page 9 of our book.
Two at the bottom, Sharon. is that where we're at? You wanna ask?
Oh,
about the
yeah,
changes,
no.
So just skip that.
So skip that one.
And there's nothing that I see red on ours, do you? That is council conduct of staff. That. We can leave it because. We didn't ask them to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4 instructions. I think, where are we at in that thing? To get.
Okay, so we're on page.
Which one, Pam?
Are we on page 13 of the corrected or the additional one? And it's probably page 10 of the other one.
Okay, page 13 and page 10.
Yeah, aren't you
clarification.
gonna just omit those corrections that have to do with council conduct? One,
Yeah,
two,
just-
three, depending on
Yeah,
which lands us on page 13. Page.
I think the next one we need to look at, I do want to look at stipend though, there's an ordinance number. That I think he has correct.
Okay, let's
Okay.
take a break. I need to know exactly.
Yeah,
Okay, we are on page 12 in the book and 13 on the loose leaf. Sorry,
I'm
guys.
just
it's
letting them figure out where
confusing.
we're going next. 'Cause-
Okay, go to page 12 in the book. And
then
page
compensation.
13 to the bottom where it says stipend on the loose page.
Are we gonna not talk about prohibition of lobbying?
Oh, God, you're right. Sorry. Thank you, good eye. Number 9, we added one called prohibition of lobbying. I kind of wanted to add to that one myself, but let's read what he has.
All right, so we're gonna go. Okay, so this has prohibition of lobbying. Because it is important for appointed or advisory bodies to make objective recommendations on items to the council free of influence, comma, a member of council / city staff shall not attempt to lobby any board, committee, comma, task force or commission member on any item that is or could be under consideration, period.
I'm not sure about that language because I would like that we not be lobbied either by staff or anybody. And that's not something, if we get told something, we are told as a whole body that we act together. And I don't think, I'm not saying it happens, but I would like it in the rule that staff are not to lobby us. They can give us recommendations, but don't lobby and try to get I don't know how to say it,
I mean, it
council.
does say that city staff shall not attempt to lobby any board committee.
Okay, so we counted in that town, that's what I want to know.
I'm not sure why it says board committee and says council.
Yeah, I think it should say council / board committee. I like council in there specifically. And that's not just,
Yeah, I like council / board committee.
okay. But otherwise, I think his wording is good, don't you? So, in green, it's just do it everything together, we're a team.
So then, and we're gonna accept the changes, the grammar changes essentially then as well. That
I
you made.
think so.
Okay.
He does a nice job there.
So what we're gonna do, Susie, is after influence, it should be a member of council / city staff.
Council without them.
Shall not attempt to lobby any council member or board committee. Well, okay, any,
Well, we have committees like ad hoc, so we have.
right. I'm just trying to figure out, so shall not lobby any other counselor?
Not sure how to word it, Pam? Anything?
I would, yeah, I see her point. You could say intend to lobby any other council
Although,
member or committee member.
so looking at this though, the beginning of the sentence is talking about how we specifically are not supposed to be, it's because it is important for appointed or advisory bodies to us. So people like committee members or committees, like we should not be lobbying the Parks Committee.
And
or
they shouldn't be
something.
in turn lobbying us because they're gonna bring us ideas.
But
Anybody
that's-
that's bringing us an
but to
idea
me,
should
that is-
not lobby.
Well, but that is what I mean, they're bringing the recommendation. I don't know how to
The
word that, but
recommendation is,
This talks about the situation where an appointed or advisory body makes a recommendation to the council.
right.
It's talking about that situation.
want it broadly. I'm not sure where to go with that. John, you have any ideas?
Like, I see what you're saying, Mayor.
Yeah,
But
but I
yeah, like
don't know how to articulate it, but
Right.
yeah. Just got the basic out of Dundee. Because it was written that way.
It should also be at the, to correct the grammar part, Susie, anyway, while I'm thinking about it, it should be on any item that is or could be under.
You wanna help
Oh,
with
it's
that?
already,
Okay. Permission of lobbying because it's important for appointed or advisory bodies to make objective recommendations on items to the council free of influence. The member of council, city staff shall not attempt to lobby any board committee, task force, or commission member on any item that it is or could be consideration, under consideration.
right, so we're not supposed to influence what they may be.
And they need not influence us, neither way. I want it both ways.
But I think that part
Let's
of it
just
is
get,
that
okay, I need to pick on our chief budget because we already did this, but like a fire bond, let's say. We don't want them lobbying us and then we don't want our staff lobbying us. We don't want to lobby them back. We want it all the way. We want it, everybody just bring it to the council at one time, hear it at the same time, so we can make an objective decision. Instead of having it well, I'm gonna talk to this person, then I'm gonna go talk to that person. I want things brought to the council as a whole body, so we can consider them together. How can we work that? I want that rule in here. Anybody got an idea on that? I'm not saying that happened, but I'm just trying to take it for instance of what something that we've already okayed or done, and please think nothing of it, but
And you, Susie?
I want to hear the information with. You are my team. You are who they elected us to work together as a governmental body. We should hear the information together at a time if possible. I know there's meetings that I'm going to take, or Nikki will probably take in my stead with Susie, because we have to go out and do that, like on the grant writer, I went out to a meeting. Things like that, and we bring back the information, but we're not supposed to like try to persuade you or any way, or go out actively speaking. I didn't call anybody and say, well, we had a meeting in distance. I waited for Susie to bring it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer by any stretch of the imagination, but I think about First Amendment rights, you might want to be careful with that. And also, I think it's difficult to set rules on people who are presenting to the council. I think if they're a committee or board from any other agency, they've got their own rules that they're held to when speaking outside the organization. Those are my thoughts.
Yes, and that's true, Susie. I concur with that. But I also think that if they present to us, they need to do it to us as a united, not one at a time. I'd like them to come to us together. How can we say that that's how we accept it to be happening? We're not going to accept meetings or cannot accept these meetings unless it's with our full, because then that gets a foot when we have something like that thing we did. But. Go ahead.
So how about something along the lines of, this will be, initially, this type of thing will be brought before the council as a whole.
An initial phase of it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then, if there's more, because obviously there's a lot of times where, we need them to bring back more information, or we have to discuss it.
And that's fine. I
So, yeah.
remember my father, though, would not meet outside of council with people. He made it a point that this is my team. We're gonna hear your ask together. No, I don't want to hear it. My father, I remember him saying no to someone that would come to the door and want to talk to him about, and you know what, he was very upstanding, and it kept, I think it gave it some, built your team. Yes, it gave it some rule, and I don't know, Mom, remember how Dad was together? Go ahead, John.
I think the way that number 9 reads by the Dundee Council of Rules is all that we need to say.
Okay.
I think that it does the trick. What it's talking about is people lobbying individuals, and that's what we don't want.
That's it.
And that's what that pretty much tells you, that you don't want them coming over to you and saying, okay, I want you to promote the fire department on this and all that stuff. We don't want that. They can come down here and ask us and tell us to do it as a body. That's fine. I believe that takes care of what we have right
But
now.
it's rules that we're setting for ourselves, going to that First Amendment. It's not things that we're going to them. They can do what they want, but for us as a council as a
Yeah.
whole, we need to put ourselves at a higher standard, I think, is what I'm trying to get at. Maybe that does cover it.
So Diana, I didn't find the grammatical.
Yeah, I don't know. He crossed off and rewrote things, and I'm not really sure why. So,
Okay, it looks fine to me.
yeah, no, it looks good to me too.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I'm seeing what you're seeing.
Good, it looks like.
Okay, so let's move on to prohibition of drugs and alcohol.
So I think you should ask if everybody's.
Oh, I
good with
should have.
Leaving 9 the way we have it
Yeah,
already.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm good with
All
that.
right.
Okay, so reading number 10, prohibition of drugs and alcohol, period. The council acts as a body with the intent to conduct city business in a fair and appropriate manner while maintaining the respect and trust of the community, period. A member of council does not have the authority to act on their own to bring discredit on the council in the conduct of its business, period. No council members will give discussion and or vote at a council meeting while under the influence of alcohol or legal and or illegal drugs.
Okay, I don't understand. A member of council does not have the authority to act on their own to bring discredit on the council. What does that have to do with it? Go ahead.
I'd like to just strike that whole sentence,
Me too.
because we have that in other sections of this. It
It's in
already
charter,
states
too.
that you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, it doesn't add anything to that.
That doesn't do anything for what that's talking about. And it's talking about prohibition of drugs and alcohol. And that's what we were addressing at that time. That
Right.
there doesn't do anything.
So
for
do you
it.
like the first sentence that kind of gives the reason as to why we have this
That's
rule
fine.
in place?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? I'd like to elaborate on a little bit my take on it. if people have pain meds that they take on a regular basis, if it's a 4-hour pill, you can take it 5 hours before the meeting, I think, and you're okay. If you are gonna drink with your dinner, do it after the council meeting. If you are going to take this, if you're on a 12-hour medication, take it 13 hours before and refrain till after the meeting. Is everybody on the same page with that, Bonnie? I'm not saying disclude people that can't take medicine.
I don't disagree with that aspect or individual approach to how you self-medicate based on legal prescriptions. My only concern is that if you prohibit a legal drug, I don't think we have the right to prohibit a legal drug. I think that, again, some of it is common sense. You don't want to take 2 Vicodin and show up for a council meeting. And so if you need 2 Vicodin, probably ought to not come that day, or take it early enough, but that's some of that's common sense. I like what we originally have, except for I have some concerns about saying legal drugs, because legal is, if you get pulled over by a cop, it's legal. If you go to work and you have a policy, it's legal. You have a legal prescription and you are appropriately medicating yourself, it's legal. I don't think we as a council have the right to interject ourselves into a legal language.
So you're saying don't be impaired.
I love the word impaired because that is so much more comprehensive. It is a language that I'm really familiar with in most workplaces. You cannot come to work impaired. So you can take a legal prescription, but if you show up impaired, that's a problem.
And the verbiage too with HIPAA, sometimes, you don't know what's, what they're taking. It could be an anti-seizure or something, So, I mean, I agree that, under the influence.
What were you thinking?
No, I don't have any problem with any of it except for that one single line. Legal, or, I mean, we're all adults here, correct? You know what you need to do. You don't need to come here and be incompetent and make decisions
Right.
on what the city is gonna be run. So that doesn't stop you from taking your drugs during the day or whatever, but you just made a statement. If you wanna take them early enough so that they don't affect you when you come here. Well, that don't stop you from doing that. Not at all, not at all.
I love the fact that we could fix it so that it says impaired, because that's very appropriate, legal, illegal, whatever the substance is. 27 caffeine cups of coffee, that's still impaired. So it just depends. That word is very comprehensive. So I don't know how you would want to do that, but.
Are you done?
I would say, along with what Pam is saying, impaired feels more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not like enforceable. That's the
Okay.
word, like,
Actionable.
yes, it's actionable. Either you're impaired or you're like, or you're not, like, that feels more like something
Well,
that
some
the chief.
people get on loaded up and they think they're all right. That's how we get their drivers. I mean, you guys need to
Right,
think
But
about
what
that
I'm
too.
saying though is that that's something that the chief is used to looking for impaired people, impaired drivers. Like that's what, like if we were to say, is that person impaired? He knows how to look for that
Yes.
versus just saying, are they under the influence? Like it just feels
I don't
more
think they should be
actionable.
under the influence there. I'm sorry. Under the influence and or impaired. You could put that, but I think under the influence is huge.
I'm just saying
Because
that
we're making decisions for other
impaired
people.
is just more actionable. So if we're going to make a rule,
Can we put them both then? Will you guys go with both? Don, you had something?
Well, yeah, have you ever heard the term buzzed driving? You can still go to jail for that too.
And that's an impaired driver.
Right.
Okay, that's right, but impaired, but below the limit. So
It's
what I'm
still-
getting at is,
Mhm.
this doesn't stop anybody from taking a legal drug. This doesn't stop
No,
one.
it
thing.
just says there's common
Can't vote.
sense.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's what it says. If you're,
Oh, we have a citizen. Go ahead.
I was listening to all the different comments, but impaired pretty much covers it all. You shouldn't come to the council or to work impaired.
So anybody else out there got an input on that? What you actually think? Go ahead, Sandra.
I like number one.
Okay.
That would be, yeah.
And or don't be on it and don't be impaired.
don't be under the influence and or impaired.
There you go.
Yeah, while you're there. And you know what? I'm gonna say this, there are things that happen like surgeries or injuries, just call. You can be accused 10 times in a row. I'm not gonna try to take action on you. If you have something you need appeal for, by God, just don't come.
I think that's what we go look at. You're impaired.
Well, look, can we do the and or, and everybody's.
So-
happy?
Yeah, I was just agreeing.
Not- We're sure where to put the and or there and
I-
then you read the sentence.
So I'm thinking no council member will give discussion and or vote at a council meeting while impaired or under the influence of alcohol or legal and or. That's a lot of and ors.
Well, what about legal stuff, and he was okay with putting.
What about if you put under the influence and or, no, I guess it would be, sorry, reverse, so.
Sorry, it's long and drawn out, but it covers the topic and I'm kind of dead set on it.
Impaired or under the influence of alcohol or legal and or.
So you could say council members will not give discussion and or vote while impaired under the influence of alcohol, blah, blah, blah.
So
So
just impaired and then
while
comma,
impaired under
just impaired under, okay.
the influence.
I just like the word impaired. I think that it helps cover it and makes it more,
Exactly.
And it is actionable. I mean, if the chief
Right.
is here, he
Well, that's just
has
it.
the skill set.
right. So the first sentence that we're including is the council acts as a body with the intent to conduct city business in a fair and appropriate manner while maintaining the respect and trust of the community. Period.
That next one is-
And then it should be no council member will give and or,
Good discussion.
oh, well, not, sorry, will give discussion and or vote. Those, take away the space, yeah, there you go. At a council meeting. While impaired under the influence.
Or under
Or
the
under.
influence.
Or
While
under the
under
influence.
the.
Well impaired under the influence of alcohol and legal or physical drugs.
I think the while goes before the impaired.
She got it.
Yeah.
She doesn't know.
Okay. Yeah, good with what that says up there?
You want to strike out
And
zero
then,
tolerance?
yeah, and then take out the zero tolerance part because that is,
Well, and that can open you up too
For, it's a shall word. It's
yeah, it can, for legal, because again, we're not trained professional.
Yes,
so.
Denise?
Just so that there's no misunderstanding and for clarification, if you guys are done with that one, I just wanted to make sure on number 9, there was some changes to match Bill Monahan's language. And I heard Harvey say that he wanted to keep it the same, number 9. And I want to make sure that there's not a misunderstanding there.
Can you be more specific, Denise?
Yes, ma'am, I can. Yes, prohibition of lobbying because it is important for appointed or advisory bodies to make objective recommendations on items to the council free of influence. The council's wording says counselors/city staff shall not attempt to lobby any board committee, and Councilor Barge was asking that to be changed to a member of the council/city staff. I just
Oh.
want, it's small, but I want to
No,
make
that's a
sure
good
that we're
idea. So
all
what
on
you
the same
do-
page and there's no
Can we get a
misunderstanding.
clarification from John and Diana
Please.
then?
Well, I did say that. I said that what we had under, with the Dundee Council Rules and Procedures was fine.
So you didn't
So
want
then-
Diana to add.
right, so you don't want the grammar change.
Good eye, Denise.
No, I didn't see him read.
Okay.
So
You
strike
need to go
that.
back.
I think the grammar change just reads better, but
Okay.
like, I mean, if you don't think we should change it at all, that's fine.
What's the rest of the council think?
I'm fine with leaving it, or either way.
Okay, so we need to
Need to change it back.
define leave it, Like leave it there? or
No,
leave it-
change it to the way
Change
it
it back to the way it was.
I know in my head what I mean. I understood the assignment. You guys make that picked out, but yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Counselor shall not. Okay, I think that sets it back.
Okay. No, on that next one where he changes our ordinance number, I think he knows what he's talking about, so even though that wasn't a change we asked for, I'd like to ask what his thoughts are, is that the right number and we had it wrong? Or
Well, we changed it in ours.
we did, oh, to 1.0.
Yeah, he just changed all the words from compensation to stipend.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tried
The
to-
word stipend should be in there,
I think,
because compensation can be like you're getting something for something.
right.
I kind of like his
It's
wording
stipend.
better.
Tried to marry it up better with what the charter says.
I think I like the stipend word. I mean, that is one I would give way to say right ahead of time. What do you think, John? Hey, can we go with Monahan's then with the?
No, I think stipend is a better word, and like she said, it matches with what the charter
Well,
says, which says,
compensation can be a tricky
Well,
word. too,
right.
if people
I was
aren't
kind of
really
thinking that we should change that $10 to about $150.
I'm with that one, John. Let's do it.
I.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
so do we want to go through, I mean,
Yeah, go through.
like, do we want to do it all right now, or, because there's a lot of stipends through here, so do we want to just let Susie know that she can go through and find all of the changes under this section and change all the compensations to stipend on her own later?
It's just basically that,
No, there's a whole bunch on the next
Yeah.
page, so.
number one says
8 or 9 of them.
compensated meetings.
Okay. The waiver, okay, that just covers what we did already, right?
So backing up, what do you want to do? So compensation, I understand we can change that to stipend. But here, compensated meetings, you don't want it to say compensated meetings?
Well, I think we were being compensated for our time and attendance, but we're receiving a stipend. for
Right,
that.
well, that's why
So,
the next line
yeah,
says the
the
meetings,
next line should say,
the meetings for which council members are compensated by stipend for attendance. And so I think that works for
Thanks, guys, for.
stipended meetings doesn't make sense.
Hey, next Thursday. See you there.
Okay, so backing up, we'll replace compensation with a stipend.
A stipend for their services. Stipend for their.
originally you
Yeah,
had
I think the
members
service,
are compensated by stipend for attendance. As follows. So take out the word are. What do you guys
Oh,
think?
no, you're on the wrong line. She's
Are we
on,
on
she's
still?
up. She's up in the first paragraph still.
I would like to know what you guys want this first paragraph to say.
Right. So what Bill changed it to was will receive a stipend for their services at a rate of $10. You guys like that?
I like 20.
I like John, 150.
My church likes it out because that's where it goes.
Yeah.
So do you want to add in a stipend for their services?
For what?
For this first line, right here.
Diana, what page are you on Bill's document?
13.
Thank
At the
you.
bottom.
At the bottom.
paragraph.
Thank you.
Can you see it?
Yeah, so, section of the city code provides the council members will receive a stipend, receive a stipend at the rate of $10 per meeting. And then at the bottom, it also says the mayor as a member of the council is entitled to the meeting stipend to receive the meetings. You know what I'm trying to say.
So you don't think it should say for their services?
No, I agree. It should. For their,
You want it
it
to read
says
like
for
it is,
each
please,
each
please?
meeting that they attend.
Can you give it to Susie?
Right.
Because you're only getting it per meeting. So where are you, am I missing where you're
I'm
at?
looking at
She's,
Bill's
you
stuff.
know what, she's,
Okay.
Denise is giving it to Susie, because we
Okay,
like the way it
okay.
read, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at what Bill wrote.
Okay, would you like?
So,
So for clarification, are we putting it this way?
Yes.
okay, yeah,
Okay.
Okay, I
Well,
just
okay, I
need
see
it
what you're
read
saying.
aloud.
right.
Sorry, I was looking at ours.
I know, I'm like, I'm confused by
So-
which one.
Section
So the numbers are
one
already
point
there.
oh four.
Right, we already knew to change the number.
Yeah.
We're just changing the wording.
Can someone read it out loud? It really helps.
Yes, okay, where are you at?
I'm at the very beginning of the paragraph.
Okay, so of the city code provides that council members will receive a stipend for their services with the S in apostrophe or parentheses, thank you. Like, what's that word? So the S at the end of services is like that in the parentheses.
Each member.
What's the, oh, the beginning of a parentheses?
No, so the S at the end of services, because it's service or services.
Oh, I see.
There you go. At the rate of $10 per meeting for, and then quote, for each meeting of the council the member attends. Yep, okay, then the next sentence is the mayor, comma, as a member of the council, comma, is entitled to receive the meeting stipend.
Instead of compensation.
Right.
Stipend.
So
Do we want to?
is it up there where at the beginning where it says compensation for attendance meetings?
Put stipend.
Should say
first.
stipend,
Good eye.
Where?
right up there, should be stipend,
Yes,
there you go.
there we go.
And then should one also say stipend meetings versus compensation meetings?
Yeah, it should, but it wasn't true.
Right, I think stipend meetings just sounds
I think
funnier, so you
it's
probably
funny,
left
that's
it
fine.
as compensated because it just sounds funny. So I thought. So then the next, so then it's the, so then the next line is the meetings for which council members are compensated by stipend for attendance are as followed. Okay. And then we go down to non-compensated meetings. Number two. And that first line is the meetings for which council members do not receive a stipend as compensation. There you go. And then we scroll down and we go to number 3 is waiver of stipend. Okay, and so then it's a council member may waive the meeting stipend. That the council is entitled to receive. The waiver of a member then sitting on the council.
So you want it to read that way?
That's what I'm. So. A waiver of a member then sitting on the council must be in writing. So, because I think what he's trying to say is. If you're on the council at the time, it has to be in by January 10, but if it, right. But then, because he adds in a line at the end that says, in the event a council position becomes vacant during the year, section blah, blah, blah of the city code applies. So I think that that's where the state, like, it helps I can't speak tonight, sorry. It makes a difference between those two times. So I don't know, are we all good with those changes? Okay. So the waiver of a member then sitting on the council. So right where you are.
Oh, right here.
Yep.
Waiver.
The waiver of a member then sitting on the council must be in writing, delivered to the city recorder by January 10 of a year. Instead of each, it's a year. Just weird.
I think the charter, yeah, I think the charter calls for making the election each year.
Okay,
So.
well, he changed it from each to A,
oh, he
like the
did?
letter
It
A.
was each because we do it every year.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, to me, it sounds funny to say, must be in writing and delivered to the city recorder by January 10 of a year.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds weird. So I say we leave each.
I'm in agreement.
I don't really understand some of this stuff anyway. The waiver of a member then sitting on the council, well, who's gonna be waiving something if they're not on the council?
Well, so what it's saying, because then the last line is so it's saying that if you're sitting on the council at the beginning of January, your waiver needs to be in by January 10th. But if you are then, if a position becomes vacant, like what happened to me, and I took over in August, I had to follow these other rules that gave me a certain amount of time to put in my waiver. I didn't have to have my waiver in by January 10th because I wasn't on the council on January 10th.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
I think I have an idea of why he might have used A. So the counselors are all entitled to a stipend. And so if you go along and let's say 1 year you are taking your stipend, but then all of a sudden at the end of the year decide, well, this year I don't want to take the stipend. So it's an option. So I think by using the word each makes it seem like a requirement that you need to waive. Whereas if you leave it at A, it makes it an option. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
That might be why he changed it.
That makes sense. It does sound funny, but it makes sense now.
It sounds funny.
What if, basically, members can choose to accept it or to waive it? So shouldn't it be a member sitting on council, that information, whether they choose to receive or waive the stipend needs to be, just somewhere in there by January 10th.
Is it a big deal?
No. I leave it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
If you want
Yeah,
to go
we
that
are.
way, you could change this to
That's what I was thinking. I was trying
election
to
or
think like-
waiver of stipend.
Right. Well, that's why
I'd say leave it.
I'm thinking that we change it to A, that way it does.
Let's
it
just
is
put
legal.
Mr. Monahan's, I'm good with that.
Right, because I think legally we need to change it to A to make it make sense. And then the last sentence, and at the end of that paragraph, Susie, it says, in the event,
So this is a new one?
yep, new sentence at the end of that paragraph. In the event a council position becomes vacant during the year, section 1.04.020B, capital B, nope, just a capital B. There you go. Of the city code applies. There you go. Okay, and then voluntary attendance, the attendance by the council member at a non-compensated meeting may be on a voluntary basis. So on number 4, after, so it's the attendance by the council member, and then it should have at a non-compensated meeting. May be on a voluntary basis by the council member. The member is not entitled to a stipend for this meeting attendance. So, yeah, like whatever's voluntary,
It'd be like an ad hoc committee.
right? So, and then under policy, we're going to change in consideration which meetings will be compensated. The purpose of the meeting stipend is to encourage council members' participation and to recognize the sacrifices they make in personal time. There we go. Moving along.
Yes,
Everyone's good with that?
yes.
Where are we going to next?
Three ad hoc committees, we're gonna have to put a word removed in.
Oh,
Reappoint the ad hoc members.
so, yep, so at the very end, it should be until their mission is accomplished, comma, or they are removed, comma,
Not
replaced or reappointed. And then under number 5,
Or,
oh, sorry, I missed that one. Under number 4, the very end of the paragraph, that council should be lowercase. See, the very last.
Oh, right here.
Yep. And then under number 5, the first sentence
and
should be, the mayor may remove any member of an instead of the.
yeah,
And then we're on to the last piece.
okay, now we're on to the last page, right?
That would be. what that is.
The statements to media.
Statements to media. It's page 15 in the binder
Do
and
you
page
have anything
16
on that?
outside. And no.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we do, sorry.
We're gonna keep A and B as what we decided, and this C and D, I did, have an experience here lately, and I'm not gonna go into too much depth, but A and B cover us
Which one are you talking about?
on the statements of media and other organizations.
Last page, very last
I
page.
got that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Page 15.
You
in
want
the
to be
binder.
careful adopting the C and D, in fact, you don't want to. Really. Don't mind. Person has said, is open to interpretation that you do not want to be involved. It's not healthy for elected officials to put themselves on that.
You're gonna omit C and D?
That, well, it's not in our changes, just A and B. I think A and B says it all, right? We're not supposed to speak.
I just thought that we were including something about social media in our new language.
We had tabled it, I thought, with John.
Yeah, I did take it because we were gonna do some thinking on it.
But this language, I was able to show.
If you guys want to discuss it, you can bring it back to the floor for that reason, but I'm in,
I'm okay omitting his language. I just think that we might want to think about something about social media.
I like C. I don't necessarily agree with D, but I like C. It's more of a
You
like,
need to know what those laws state and how it applies to you specifically, Diana, because you could be an infraction just to your neighbor's page. You really need to not,
so, but
you need to
Well,
know
so
and have a full.
my question
understanding of
is
that.
though, right, so my question is though, is that aren't I already under those laws, whether we put this rule in or not?
Not specifically, no.
Okay.
First, I'm not acknowledging it. These are subjective laws. They're not, I think A and B say it enough, as long as you give a personal thing, because you're under there as a person. You're not, your administrator of that page is a personal person, right, Diana?
Right, yeah,
Okay, you're
But-
gonna take it out of that when you adopt C. You're gonna put yourself into some sort of admission that you admit that maybe it is going to go that way. It's like having a no trespassing sign or a dangerous dog. A person should never hang beware of dog, and you know why? Because that admits you know there's something wrong. Same concept, just different language. So I mean, you really need to dive into that before you adopt something like that.
okay, I just
Yeah.
would assume that that we already fall under
Because
that
you-
law, those Oregon laws, like if the 3 of us got onto social media and
You
started
got
commenting.
so if that is the case, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I guess I would like to understand better the legal ramifications of seeing it. I mean, what's the exposure of leaving it in there?
You know what? It's not necessary. As elected officials, we shouldn't take on more than we need to or have by law are required to. Because once you do that, then you open yourself up for any legalities that applies to. So why do it is my point, and my lawyer's point, my personal attorney's point. Why do it? Why open myself up for that if I don't have to? Don't put myself under that umbrella. None of us should. Thank you. Go ahead, Brett.
It's kind of like, when, and I know a lot of us have read it, when you are, for example, talking to the media, if you're saying your personal opinion, you have to state that this is you as a citizen a private citizen speaking, and this is your personal opinion and only your personal opinion. And you also have to, on social media, like, you know, with that being, it's a public page, but it's put on by a private citizen or citizen. Right. Excuse me, that has to be at the top of your page under your heading, saying that this doesn't have anything to do
Like my
with
page.
the city. This is a personal or a public page that was created for Jervis citizens to be able to communicate.
Okay, now there are
See?
recording laws, and I found out all about those. If you take something that is public record and has been stated in a public record, your elected officials, you do not have to re-record, thus the word record. If it's recorded already, like in say our city, you don't have to re-record or archive that. It's nonsense. Why would you do that? If you do something where you get in trouble, would be an executive thing you shouldn't put on there. Or if you state something that is like, say, I don't even know an example of it, to be honest with you. But if it's in record somewhere and you show, like, if I go out and say the budget committee or the committee ad hoc is talking about our 4th of July, and I state that, hey, we're gonna do this, so we're having a basketball. There is no godly reason to have to re-record it. Now, as far as being the mayor, I also found out, and I'm gonna tell you, I was blessed. And I have a constitutional and a criminal lawyer now. That it's my own to converse with. And what I found out is even as a mayor, I can say, hey, I'm Mayor Annie Gillen, not speaking for anybody on this council. And I'm gonna use this as a thing, don't like this bond. I'd like to stay neutral. Oh, next week I don't like it at all. Or, oh, I love it. I can change my mind anytime I want. I can state that opinion as long as I'm not talking to any of you. But the disclosure, even as a mayor, must do that. Right. I have to say, I, the mayor, or I, a private citizen. That does have to happen, right? But you can change your mind. You can give an opinion even as an elected official, as long as it's for you.
It just has to be, you just have to,
Yeah, and nobody has the right to stop you from doing it.
you just have
It's
to make sure
criminal.
that you're saying that it's your personal belief or opinion that, yeah.
And that's what it
So-
states, right?
Right, that's where the,
Yeah.
Is it
Can I-
a good practice that, I think, just like Susie speak for our city, we have a city manager?
can I just make a comment?
Yeah.
So what I'm reading of number C though, is just for an example. So I'm in that Jervis group, Mickey's in that Jervis group, Annie's in that Jervis group, Pam's in that Jervis group. What if we saw somebody, Laura's in that group, right? You're in the Facebook group on the Jervis neighbors. Laura goes, I think that we need to take away all the stop signs. I'm just using something really stupid. And I go, I agree. And Mickey goes, I agree. And Pam goes, I agree. And Pam goes, I agree. All of a sudden we have a forum in a public meeting.
So you would have to watch that.
That's where C comes into play, is where, what I'm seeing.
Use that on you. Don't give them any ideas, Diana, is my point. Why open ourselves up? for that?
Right, I'm just saying that all
Yeah,
I'm
would they use
saying,
it? Would it stick? No. Would it make them look? What are they gonna do to you? Really, don't open yourself up for it.
right, well, what I'm saying is that there should be a rule that says we need to be careful of what kind of
That's in our
conversation we're
forum,
having.
in our charter, don't get in a forum, that applies in that instance.
I guess that's all I'm thinking is that we need to make sure that we're paying attention to that.
If I may say something,
Or-
all of you took an oath to abide by the laws of the state of Oregon, and it states right in
Yeah, it's
there.
care of it.
Already takes care of this. We don't have to worry about that.
Like these, if you're stating your personal opinion, if Nikki states her personal opinion, or Dylan states her personal opinion, and y'all say, yeah, I agree with that on Facebook, it's your personal opinion, it's your personal opinion. Another thing that needs to be careful is if you target someone because they're against or for something, and they're an elected official, you better damn well target the person that you like their idea too. You cannot just single out a person and say, oh, you don't like this, so I'm gonna get you in trouble.
You shouldn't be doing that anyway.
It's ridiculous.
Nobody should be targeted.
No.
That's against the rules.
Yeah.
And So as
That's
far,
fine. We can just
I'm
keep what's up there.
sorry,
That's,
I've had some issues and I'm dealing with it. You guys will hear about it. Go ahead.
So again, getting back to that, I think for like yourself, Laura, Pam, aren't you also, Eric, I know you're on there, so you see a lot of our posts. But I think too, again, if we say, you know, something along the lines that all posts on this are the personal opinions of, or comments are personal thoughts, personal feelings. This doesn't have anything to do with city positions. It's just a community. And even though we're elected officials, we're also residents of the community, and we are entitled to have various
I just, you know,
ideas.
I just want to make sure that these other Oregon laws that are in place are not going to get us if the four of us start having a conversation
And you
on
know
it.
what, though,
thing.
But
Shannon,
putting
you're
the
not wrong.
personal opinions,
That she's
Yeah.
not wrong.
No.
You have to say, and we do need to be careful that you watch
Right.
losses on that.
And that's what you gotta do. If you're on a site, somebody else has made a comment and you see, say, another counselor come on and say something, say, oh, man, I want to say, want to think about it. Am I gonna force
And that is
forum
an
here?
easy
No,
trap to
don't
fall
do it.
into, but don't
That's-
put yourself
And then,
where you're
I
being
think with what
wrong.
we have here,
well, you see, for me, I just make it pretty much, if you guys see mine, I pretty much will, I may like it or put a smiley face, but I don't, a lot of times, I don't add
Well,
any comment to
And I'm
anything.
also covered because
Yeah.
my thing was very well researched. I'm also covered because the page, I have my disclosure on there, that it's not any way Jervis. So when I post on someone else's comment, it can be explained that, hey, that's Annie Gillen from her private page commenting. That kind of, that covers me that I'm not
Somebody
speaking for
talking.
anyone.
Yeah, Virginia has a question.
Oh, sorry.
May I read it? She is asking, I was on the Oregon neighbor page. I noticed the school memo. I clicked on it and it talked about the bond. It's the first time I've seen anything about the bond.
okay, thank you.
The blue button? Oh, right here?
Right in the
Above
center.
the comment.
Over in the middle, over in the,
Oh,
there you go.
gotcha. I don't know.
It's,
Okay.
and it's been on there multiple times, Virginia, I don't know, a lot of times, Virginia, it's just been something that's been commented on and somebody just kind of threw a little excerpt in there. So, yeah, if you're interested in getting the information, just to read for your self-knowledge, contact the Jervis School District or go on their website.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we
don't
We don't
have
we
anything
don't-
to do with the bond.
Nope.
Is that what you're asking, Virginia? Can we get some clarification on what your ask is? Are you wanting information about?
Or is she making a comment?
Better certainty from the policymakers so that these companies can step up and make these tremendous investments. The president's
Oh.
Let me ask her to speak.
Oh, hello. Sorry about that. I was trying to get on. So, you know, they have like the Jervis Neighborhood Watch page, I believe it is. And sometimes people will post that their dog is missing or they found a cat. So I saw something about the school and I don't know. I think it was, I think the publisher was Dandy Stevens and it was a link. And in the link, it said, you know, school updates. And the first thing I saw was why we need a bond. But as you scroll down, it talked about Mr. Stott retiring. So I just kind of felt like it seemed like I think the administrator to the webpage was somebody on the city council. But I always felt like if people post things that are not appropriate or that not everybody agrees with, they're taken down. And I kind of felt like that memo kind of seemed like a clickbait. They want you to click on it, you click on it, and it's telling you about the bond. It's the first thing on there. So I kind of felt like, is this telling me that the city is representing the bond? Or I guess I just was kind of confused. Because the school also has their own Facebook where they post.
Correct. So the city, I will just say that the Jervis Neighbors page was actually started by me and my husband before I was ever a city council member. Everything that gets posted on there is just by the community. And none of it is, anything on there is not representative of what the city believes or stands behind, or even what any one counselor stands behind. And I will go in and change that, because if that's confusion, I will definitely change that. But it is not, it is just a place for everybody to be able to share information. And so the only thing that I not get ugly in there, basically.
Okay, but Diana, what if somebody was like pro bond? That's okay. What if they were against the bond
Yep.
and they stated it? You would be okay with
Yeah,
that?
as long as they are not,
So you're okay with just people having opinions?
Yeah,
Because that's all I
definitely.
ever do.
yeah, it says on there that opinions are fine as long as it doesn't get nasty. So I don't want people cussing. I don't want people bashing, calling names. And the other thing that I put on there is that we're not allowed to bash the city itself or our police officers.
Okay, that's fair, but also like, okay, let me ask you another question. Do you feel you are obligated if somebody's against the bond to tell them that they have to go to someone's website to see their facts? Do you feel you're obligated to point them in that direction? You have to, you've got to do this. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
feel obligated to do anything on there.
Point of order, I'd like to get back on track
Okay,
here.
let's get out of here. Sorry, I just got that.
Myself, I'm for leaving what we have. The only addition I would like would be, as where it says, if a member of the council to include the mayor, and I would like it to be added and staff right behind mayor. Other than that, the rest of it to me is all just fine.
And staff.
And staff.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Because
Under both sections?
Yeah.
Well,
I would say probably under both, right?
yeah, make it under both.
All right, sorry I got off on that, but yeah. I think it's in my emails.
Yeah.
I did hear.
When I showed it, you want the information.
So you
Their website, yeah.
It's on my.
I turned it off.
Mayor and staff, not the mayor.
Oh, did I put that?
Yeah. A member of the council.
No, I would say it needs to be if a member of the council to include the mayor and staff. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, let them get a
Oh, I
copy, yeah.
keep everything. I have everything I've ever got.
I do too, but I'm not gonna read it.
I keep the binder, I'll give it back to her after I cook it and
I'm
put it.
gonna buy it.
You know what, I've got 4-inch, 5-inch ones that I get to use from work that we don't use anymore. So I- Yeah, here in a big punch, just get it and finish it. I have like 4 binders for Denise. I just need to cook them out and make mine, put them in mine.
And I would like you to do art online, please.
Oh, thank you. Oh, Virginia, thank you.
You're welcome.
So moving forward, what are your next steps?
Well, I'd like a copy of this printed off of the changes we made tonight. And then I would like it to go into a legal document. Is what my ask is everybody okay if this is what we're doing? There's no other outside changes. It stays as we put it tonight. But I think we should all get a hard copy of it. Right?
First, or maybe clear,
Yeah, John.
What was the question?
What order do you want? A hard copy before it comes to us
I
for
want a hard
being
copy
voted
right
into?
here, right now, to see the changes.
Yeah, I just want to compare, because I mean, sometimes people make errors when we type.
So you wanna look
whatever,
at it one
whatnot,
time?
So I'd like to look at it one more time. And at that time, I mean, if we get it in the packet, we can look at it during the week, and then when next council meeting will come in, we can ratify it.
Okay, so you want a hard copy
Tonight.
tonight?
Yeah, no,
I want one tonight. We just made the changes. I want to have a hard copy of it.
can you just send?
You can send it to the printer, right?
Well, if you can do that, then that's not so bad.
Yeah,
I
can send it.
don't.
Am I taking out the LMC model rules? Is it?
Yeah.
And on front and back.
so can I have some clarification for the minutes? So we're doing a copy tonight, right?
Yeah.
For everyone or just the mayor?
I would say everyone. so that if you can print some copies off, that way it's in our packet, so to speak, so we can be looking at what John said.
Okay,
That could serve as our draft to approve or disapprove in our meeting where we can vote.
I have a question. Susie? Yeah, or Annie, somebody? I'm getting permission from Annie, that's what I meant to do,
You got the
to
floor.
speak. So the statements to the media and organizations, we just have that tacked on to the end. Does it need to be somewhere specific in the rules though? The last one that we just covered, it's just stuck on the end
You're right,
after the amendments to the council rules. Like, where is it actually going in the rules?
right, good point.
Mm,
You want to just add it to the end?
I think
Before the
so.
amendment?
Leave it worded, I mean, because you're going to amendments, well, yeah, amendments.
So it probably needs to go before the amendments
Mhm,
section,
yes. Um,
but I don't know that it fits into anywhere else specifically, unless we put it under council conduct.
that's a good place for it, I think.
Trying to figure out where the good.
Council conduct.
There's council conduct with the staff, and maybe under council conduct with the public.
When I think you're looking hearing for this section. Are you guys looking on where you want to put that section?
Yeah.
It looks like you can go to the.
I mean, it could go under the council conduct with the public, is my thought, but, or it can just be stuck at the end. I mean, I don't care. I just want to make sure that it's not just floating out there randomly.
now we print it as it is, and then as we reread it, we may decide where it actually should be.
Yep, that
reflected,
works.
put back to.
Yeah, we could bring that
Yeah.
in.
We're not so tired and so worried.
So just
Yeah.
leave it where it's at for now.
Abby made a table of contents format, right?
Yeah, Abby went through and she made section headings for each section. And then from there, she created a table of contents. So,
Beautiful, but maybe she could say, once we see that, maybe that would be where we decide where the placement can go, or Abby could maybe find an appropriate place she thinks. Look, you guys trust
Well,
Abby to
You
figure
know
it
what,
out?
I think we should decide where it's gonna go now, so that
Oh,
we can,
okay.
we can feed this along, so they have less work to have to go back and
Okay.
change it and all that. Let's just decide where we want it right now.
Okay, and then it's done and we get a copy.
Correct.
All right.
What about, like you're saying, conduct of council and committee of the whole meetings? You've
What page
got
are
like,
you on?
page 2 of, yeah. We've got like order and decorum, you know, it's talking about, no, I'm sorry. Rules of procedure is where I was. Rules of procedure, which is on page 2. Because then, you know, that would be the procedure that we use if we're going to,
Conduct of,
Do any of those.
conduct with the public. Under there. on
where do you
page-
have it at?
Council conduct with the public.
Page 11, like at 11:12 is council.
Yeah, and I think you can put it at the bottom of that before, after make it number 9 and then prohibition of lobbying, number 10 and 11. Put it in between 8 and 9, Suzie, or even put it at number 11.
Yeah, I think that that's where
Okay,
it makes
yeah.
the most sense to
Put
me.
it as, we have an 8, 9, and 10, we didn't keep a 9 and 10, or yeah, I guess.
Yeah, we did, we just
Um,
changed it,
But put it at the
No,
bottom.
down farther, we're looking at page 12.
which is probably gonna be.
So like in there, that is under council conduct with the public is what that,
Yeah, put it
So
at
then we
number
can paste
11.
it there, yeah.
So as item number 11.
as I would say just as item number 11, and then just item number 11 is statements to the media and other organizations, and then we have A and B formatted to look like the other things.
Good spot.
Right here, right?
Yeah.
It will format this and clean it up.
Right.
And if we could just get a copy of it and you guys read it over and.
Well, are we,
So can I get
Going
a
to try to make it for
consensus
the
that
meeting
these changes are the ones we're gonna use? No more changes other than grammatical or spelling.
Right, until we look at it again in a couple of years.
We should, yes.
Yes.
All the spelling should be taken care of.
Okay, but
Right.
biannually, I think it should be looked at.
Yeah, that's fine. we can do
So,
that.
so for clarification, what's the consensus, please?
The consensus is this is the one we're using. It's gonna be checked for grammar, or spelling, or
Any
It's
grammatical
gonna be used
errors.
As is.
Yes,
That's-
yes, no more
we-
changes.
We like
We're
what it
done.
says. We went over it.
And everybody,
And
Possible change, yeah,
we're
possible
getting a
changes
copy
can be made
tonight.
biannually.
Okay, so we're getting a copy tonight. Are we going to try to ratify it next week?
okay. Can you say,
Well, the packet's already gone out for next council meeting. so
I can do
what-
an addition and deletion if it's all right with council at the
But
time.
Staff time
Oh,
is kind of
okay.
an issue.
All right,
That's
so
what I'm
Susie,
wondering.
what would work better for you?
I think May would be good. The May
Is
council
everybody
meeting.
okay with it being ratified on May? But the consensus tonight is this is it.
okay, can you please for clarification for me, because it's really hard to do minutes when I can't get a clear consensus? Can you please tell me what the consensus is?
We accept this document as we have made changes tonight to it. That's the way we want it to stay.
And we're getting copies tonight with the intention of ratifying it on at the May meeting.
We accept this document with the changes as is. Okay, I want to make sure.
With the council's changes, I guess I should put that. 'cause
But at the end, also, that
Okay,
this
we're already too
document
many
will be,
people are talking, I think.
I need a.
Okay, I want
consensus.
one
Go for
spokesman.
it.
John, you were the guy. Say it again.
We accept this document with council changes as is. Is that,
All in favor?
And it'll come back to the May council meeting with a grammatical spelling check and formatted with section headings and a table of contents.
Oh, that's good.
Yes,
Is that good?
Yeah, I
to be
like that.
reviewed again by annually.
at May meeting?
I don't think we need to.
Is
I
that-
think you would like it.
yeah,
okay,
because then
okay.
it'll say that it
That's fine.
can be, because then somebody's not gonna come back and say, well, this is the rule. It doesn't say, so, yeah.
I'll have to listen to it.
We'll
Okay.
have to-
All right. Sorry, guys.
And
Okay, so-
it does get adopted by resolution, so we'll bring the resolution back. At the meeting. So you guys don't want any further legal review?
Thank Mr. Monahan for his time. Meeting adjourned.
At what time?
Uh,
What time is it?
8:47, this meeting is adjourned. And we'll wait for a copy.
There we go. And some of those other changes, like we can look back at it in a couple of years and see,
That's right.
like,
How we're.
right, well, and some of the things that he brought up that we're like, we didn't want to have to deal with right now, I figured, keep your copy, we can look at it in a couple of years.